Okie Show Show. Hello and welcome to the podcast that explores the heartlands entertainment industries. I'm Brian.
And I'm Nick. Hey, Brian, you nailed that intro.
Thank you. Third time's the charm. We are joined today by another guest co-host that is also our guest today, Miss Toni Marlo. Welcome to the show.
The Four Timers Club, right?
Four Timers Club. I think it has been 4 times.
What do I get? Should we wait till it's 5? It's a nice
5 will be one single glove.
Okay.
We'll send
Michael Jackson style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
You get the 5 timers Michael Jackson glove.
I feel like I should get an award for the 4 Timers Club. I should do something. Who else has been on 4 times?
Man, I don't even know. How many repeat guests? Well, we've had Ryan Belgard on, I think, 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
he ain't at 4. He ain't at 4.
He ain't 4. He ain't at Toni Marlo's level.
Yeah.
And did you talk to him for 3 hours prior to actually starting the podcast?
We did not. That's for the listeners. We've been talking for ever. What time is it right now? We've been talking since 7, and it's almost 9.
We've gotten in some rehearsing. It's been nice.
That's right. That's because Toni here, we're going to be talking to Toni about her time on her new job, which we're going to get into in just a second. But we're also very, very good friends. Me and Toni have classic movie nights. We hang out all the time. You're my set sister. So,
which I think it's your turn, by the way, for classic movie night.
I think it is. And I am, I've been getting my eyes on a couple good contenders.
Okay.
So
I was thinking classic movie, like Turner classic, like
Black and
White.
Okay. It's whatever the view. It's whatever the person's turn it is. Whatever they consider classic. So we've done 80s, 1980s movies. We've done 40s. We've done kind of all over the board. It's kind of your pick.
Yeah. I've been thinking we haven't watched a Western, and I've been wanting to rewatch Stagecoach, John Wayne's first movie.
John Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
You don't like John Wayne? You know what? You're out of classic movie night.
Get out of here.
No, all of his shirts were creased, like ironed and crisp, and it's weird to me.
That is such a Toni Marlo thing to say.
Can I also say this is another reason why. I'm going to offend half the world, but so many men use John Wayne as like a masculine idol, like a hero. And so when I'm doing makeup on men, a lot of times that aren't actors, let's say like it's for like a commercial or something, and they're so about it, but yet they're like the John Wayne type. I just want to like scream to them like, John Wayne wasn't a hero. He was an actor that wore wigs and makeup and costumes and red lines on camera. Guys, he was not saving lives. He's not your hero.
Yeah.
He was an actor.
I will agree.
John wants that.
But have you seen Sands of Iwo Jima? I mean, come on. Saddle up, man. Yeah. So normally we record, we have our conversation with our guests, and then me and Nick would have like we would record a separate intro and then separate outro and all this kind of stuff. But since you're our pal, we figured why not? Let's just do the whole thing in one big bajumba and just knock this whole thing out with Toni guest co-hosting.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means. So okay.
Yeah, let that be.
I just made that word up.
Let that be a lesson to all you future guests. If you become friends with us, we'll talk to you more.
That's right. We'll talk to you for 2 hours in advance of the actual interview.
It's been 2 hours last night, right?
Yeah. We were just shooting the shiz.
Yep, catching up.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Well, and we've been catching up because you just got a new job down in the Texas area. So this is the Okie Show Show breaking into the Texas industry now.
Well, it's the California section of Texas.
That's true. The least Texas-y place of Texas.
Yeah, they call it the blueberry because it's a little drop of blue in a big state of red. They do, yeah.
That's good. So you are working on Fear the Walking Dead now.
I am.
And tell us a little bit about that, about what you're doing for Fear the Walking Dead now.
I'm the key makeup artist for Fear the Walking Dead. So the way the show is broken up is it's broken up into the walkers, the zombies, And all of that's done by K&B, which is like the company, the special effects company. And then there's a makeup department, and then there's of course a hair department. And then the makeup department is 3 people. It's the department head, it's the key, and then there's a third. And they take care of all the principals, like the principal actors. And then the K&B take care of all the walkers. So I'm on the principal side of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're working with all the stars.
All the stars, all the people that walk and talk. And then when they, if a character dies, then they go to the K&B side if they become a walker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it like a sad walk away moment where like you guys are all waving to him like bye? We'll miss you.
Kinda. Only technically they show up and they go to the trailer that isn't our trailer, so there's not a sad bye. But yeah, like the next day we're like, oh,
you should be like super territorial about it. Like if he shows up to the main makeup trailer, you should be like, you're not welcome here. No, you go back over there.
Yeah. Well, normally it's happened, I think, a few times, but normally once they go to the walker side, they tend to schedule, and this is only what I've heard because I've only done so many episodes, so I don't know a ton about it, but they do a few, normally when they're a walker, that's their last scene.
Their last day. Or they become a series regular as the pet.
As a walker. Well, a lot of the like stuntmen and stuff are walkers. So we see the walkers, the same people playing the walkers often because they're like stunt people in their background and they're like kind of scheduled, which they've kind of changed now with COVID because they can't do it the same way anymore. So they've created some really creative ways to turn them into walkers this time.
How do you do that? So this episode is coming out in 2021. So hopefully, you know, we're in future past land right now. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, the COVID situation has started to die down. But the industry, I believe, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I feel like we are changed for good. I don't really see us going back to the way things were. I could be wrong though.
I think there's going to be parts we're going to keep forever, for sure.
Like what?
Like, I could see, this is my guess, but I could see us always probably wearing masks like when actors are in our chairs. If we're up close with them, I could see us always doing that. I could see the mask getting more lax once you get on set. I hope the eyewear goes away. God.
You don't like those face shields?
God, it's the worst. I hope that goes away. I could see testing eventually going away. Like right now, I test 3 times a week. I test Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So I could see that going away because eventually once you have a vaccine, I could see social distancing eventually going away. But I think during flu season, I think there's going to be elements that'll kind of stick around. Like a little. I think the level of sanitation, I mean, because we've always had to be pretty sanitized, but I mean, it's been kicked up a notch. Like, for example, we can't have like fabric, like our brushes can't be in anything fabric. Everything has to be in like enclosed containers, and it's kind of little stuff like that, little technical stuff that's probably boring to you guys, but I'm good with all of those staying.
What the podcast is dedicated for. So how is it with like speed and timing? Because I've been in the PA role where I'm having to poke my head into the makeup trailer and very
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's
He's
so
that guy.
Having that smile of like, hey, I know you just said 5 minutes, but can you make it 3 minutes? Like
and then we're like, get out.
That very many times. But is the timing more lax or is it built in more? How is that handled?
So we build in, well, so it being a bigger show, obviously the rush isn't quite as there. Like whatever time we're told or whatever time we tell the base camp PA, that's the time. It is what it is. And that comes from like that. Also the department head has set that stage of like, don't, you know, and if we can go quicker, we will, but whatever. A lot of it is setting precedents and like not a budging on stuff. But as far as cleaning, we give about 5 minutes between each actor. So between each actor that gets up and leaves, we have to spray down the chair. We have to take we have like a disposable mat thing, take that down. Then we have to wash our hands. We have to then remove our gloves, then wash our hands and put new gloves back on. And then there's certain actors that request like a face shield that go around our head. And then, or most of the actors are okay with just like my goggles. So I have like a pair of Warby Parker clear, just eyeglasses. And then we have to have sides, like little plastic sides on them.
Oh, you put on the mask. I thought they were requesting like a visor, and I was like, how do you get the makeup on that?
So there's
makes it a whole degree of difficulty. This
so
mask looks so good.
Certain actors want us to have like eye and mask isn't enough. They want us to have like the face shield.
The walking sneeze guard.
Yeah.
Well, because it reflects back, so you can't see their faces well, and it's hot and it's miserable. Yeah. But so anyway, we have to like change that out. We have to change the whole station setup and then take their bag and reset up for the next person. So it's like a 5-minute changeover. Yeah. The harder part is on set. So luckily we're on a bigger set. So at the most, I think out of my 2 counterparts, my other makeup artists, I think I have the most actors. I think I have, all in all, I think I have 11 that I'm in charge of, but the most I've done in a day is 7. So for the indie world, film world, that's like no big deal, but that's a lot of people for this network. So there's days that I have like 7 bags on me. So in between those people, I have to like clean up for last looks. But it's harder because the actors have to have masks on and eyewear all the time. So we have a whole zoning process. Like they always have a mask and eyewear. They come into our trailer, they wash their hands, they sit in our chair, then they wait for us to tell them, then they remove their mask and eyewear. Then they can put it in our little sterilizer thing, or they can hang on to it. We do their makeup, then they reapply the mask and the eyewear, and then they leave.
How much does that screw you up, though? I mean, like, our touch-ups are hard enough, but like, are you having to deal with lines and indentations in the beards and stuff?
All that.
Away and just kind of throwing powder at them, like just.
Well, luckily, I mean, I'm on a lipstick show, so there's no powder; it's all dirt. But
good.
But yeah, so then they go to set. Then they go to actors holding. Actors holding is called the blue zone, right? So in the blue zone, they have to have their eyewear on.
Yeah, it's the Austin of sets on this.
Yeah.
Blue within a blue within a blue.
In the blue zone, I can work on anything on their face that I can touch. So I can touch up their hands. I can touch up like around their eyes. Sometimes they can take off their eyewear and I can kind of mess around here, but they can't remove their mask in the blue zone. Okay. So then they travel the actors. So that's called touches. We call that touches. Okay. Then they go to set. They get everything situated. We stand by. Then they have the first team PA with these tubs that they carry. They have like a cart. They carry these tubs. Then the first AD says, okay, we're moving to red zone. So that means anybody that doesn't have a red badge has to get away from the camera. Basically, you clear the scene. Okay. Cameras lined up, actors lined up. Then the first team PA comes around with buckets. They take their masks on. They put it in their designated bucket. Then I come in and our artists come in. And then we have to like clean beards, fix this.
Yeah.
Then
God, that sounds like such a pain.
Yeah. Then they yell cut. The first team PA comes through with the buckets, puts the mask back on.
Man.
Yeah.
Is that help? Do you think that's helping kind of camaraderie a little bit? Maybe is it more frustrating, or is it kind of like a sense of like, okay, no, we're all focusing on this and we're all just trying to do the best we can here?
So this project, obviously, it's the closest thing to like a corporate job that I've had in a long time, because we're all
wear a suit every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you wear a suit and tie every day, right?
Yeah. Every day.
Yeah, she shows up in her power suit.
Yeah.
I wear my power suit of a hat and layers of sweaters. But we're all ran by a network, and the actors are just as much of employees, so we're all just kind of under this like this rule. So I don't know if camaraderie helps. It's just like a rule. We just have to get through it and figure it out. And we have to be 6 feet apart on set all the time, which is really weird and really hard. And it takes a lot of practice. And then there's times that it's absolutely impossible. Now we have little tracers, little pagers that we carry. And when it gets within 6 feet of another tracer, it clocks us.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so if I go to
Big
work,
Brother's watching.
That's a little, yeah.
You think? But it's not GPS. It just clocks how long you've been in contact with that other thing. So on this show, we have a 6-10 rule. So if you are within 6 feet of somebody for 10 minutes, you're considered a contact. And then so if I go to work and I'm positive, everybody that I was with my tracer was longer than 10 minutes accumulative of the whole 16-hour day, 12-hour day, whatever. That makes them contact.
Added throughout the entire day?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, at least you don't have to worry about small talk.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's awesome. Like, get out of my face, Steve.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
It's gonna be a real bummer whenever the social distancing goes away, and like I can't get rid of an annoying guy anymore.
Yeah, I mean, so the odd thing is there's sometimes still a few of those. And every time, get away from me, because certain departments are kind of a little more cautious than others, which is kind of weird. So our department is overly cautious. My department head is overly cautious. So there's sometimes that we're like looking at people like, you're going to get me in trouble, dude. Go away.
Yeah.
But like our chairs are like, we have like set chairs. And I mean, the chairs have to be spaced out all the time.
Wow.
You know, I mean, like, it's weird because I feel like there are some takeaways of all of these procedures that I do feel like, why the hell have we not been doing this the whole time? Because like, Toni, were you on Children of the Corn?
Yeah.
Do you remember when we had that crazy flu outbreak? I mean, like, and flu outbreaks,
like the scripting,
were normal. Like they were basically accepted as just like, well, it's just same crap, different day.
Yeah.
And they really shouldn't be, because the flu is not something to joke around about either.
Yeah, the very last day we had several people like sleeping it off in their cars and then coming in doing their job and then coming back. I mean, it was a vomiting, fever. It was gross.
Yeah. I remember I got so sick that I think I had to miss the last day because I was busy puking and pooping all over myself at home. I literally couldn't make it to the car without messing myself. TMI, I know.
What's weird is like the idea of me getting sick creeped me out, but I didn't necessarily do anything differently.
Yeah. We just all kind of accepted it.
I mean, I mentioned like, so I was on Enslaved by Ducks when it shut down in March, right?
I hope they change that title. That's such a
terrible
title.
It is called something else now.
Thank God.
So I was on that when it shut down. But what's interesting is a week and a half, 2 weeks before we shut down. So this is when we knew that the pandemic was here, but it was like not in Oklahoma and whatever. Our lead actor had a fever at had 100 fever. 100, 101 fever, and he powered through the day because that was the standard. That's what you do.
That's what you do. Yeah. We
kind of made a joke like, oh man, you've got the Kung flu, because that's what we called it then. Yeah. It wasn't a Kung flu, guys. It was a different time.
I'll still call it that because it's still in a dark time. We need things to make us laugh.
Yeah. It was funniest thing,
where like you went up and you elbowed someone and you smiled while you did it because it was just, oh, this is fun. It's different.
Only this was pre-elbows. Elbows wasn't even a thing then. We're talking about last February.
Wow.
Things not even. So he
totally
had that,
world.
And he went to like a walk-in clinic and got a B12 shot and kind of got through it. But I mean, he worked the rest of the day and he was fine, and there was no, he didn't have corona. But that was only 2 weeks before we shut down, but it was just a given. You're the lead actor. What do you need to get through the day?
Yeah.
How many drugs? And I'm still doing his makeup in his face thinking, oh God, I hope I don't get what he gets. But that was all I did.
It was just,
I hope I don't get what he gets. Here you go.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? I mean, like that really was kind of the norm. Because like you think of the story of, Indiana Jones when they were shooting the scene where the guy shows up with the giant sword and like he just shoots him. Like he was, what did he have? He had like it wasn't flu. It was something else. I think he had like pneumonia or something.
Wait, you're talking about when they made the movie, or what do you mean?
Whenever they're shooting Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Harrison Ford was dead sick, and they changed the scene around so they could still shoot it, but they still shot it. He didn't take a day off.
Oh, and he was probably all sweating and just gross.
And like singing in the rain. He had a full-blown fever, and I'm pretty sure he had the flu, and he did that whole singing in the rain scene.
Harrison
Sick
Ford
as a dog. Harrison Ford was in Singing in the Rain. That's it. That's him.
Lovely voice.
La, da, 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 da.
I do hope that changes in the future. I hope that if people are sick, the production gets it and they understand and that people just go home and the production shuts down. Like it's not work because we're talking about a vaccine right now, but there's just new strands that can come out. I mean, this is going to be a continuous thing that we're going to deal with.
Yeah.
And so,
or something else is going to come around.
Yeah.
Some COVID-21 or something.
So I'm fine with wearing a mask. I'm fine with wearing a mask, doing makeup permanently.
Yeah.
I really want to wear it like all day, every day, and eyewear. But I could do a mask when I'm like right up here with you.
When you're in the nucleus of the set, I definitely subscribe to the belief that it is both smart and necessary. Period. Regardless, COVID-19 be damned. Like, especially if you're indoors, why would you not be? I mean, like we're all.
Yeah.
Movie sets are super spreader events. They just are.
Yeah. Why? And I'm fine with wearing. I'm used to it now. I'm fine with wearing a mask permanently. It's fine.
Yeah.
It feels a little isolating because people can't see you smile. They can't see your expressions. Like I get that. I hope that we can get closer than 6 feet because that is hard. That's hard to do, especially when you're shooting in a narrow space. You're supposed to stay out of camera range. And now we all have monitors. Like we all have our own little monitor, or like a viewer. You can view the monitor on your phone or on an iPad, but only that goes into a certain range. So that's only 100 yards.
Yeah. So
at a certain point, there are legitimate situations where I've walked up to our COVID coordinator on set, and other people have too, where I'm like, this is a no-win for me, because it's kind of like operating on I don't know if you guys have ever worked on like a closed set, like when it was like a sex scene or something.
Oh yeah,
where
yeah,
you have to like, you have to like go in, do your thing, and then you have to walk away, and you have to hope that what you did.
Hope for the best.
Well, I guess Brian's a sound guy, so he has to be there. But
it's fun whenever you're a boom operator and you're just having to look down the barrel of the gun. I can't leave.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're a sound mixer, the great thing about when you're a sound mixer on intimate scenes like that is that when we're doing intimate scenes, like I don't hang by village. I don't need to see I'll look at the frame and then I'll leave. There's no need for me to be,
look at the frame, take a picture, and then
leave for about 5 to 10 minutes and then come back. No.
Come back, relaxed.
Yeah. But like, the great part is that I'm sitting alone with my headphones on, and everyone knows what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
It's just creepy in its own way.
It would be okay if you weren't smiling so big while you were doing it.
But you know, like when it's a closed scene, everybody has to like go in sections and do their job, and then they got to walk away, and it's such a longer, lengthy process.
Yeah.
Basically what this is all day. If that makes sense. Like everyone's got to come in chunks and go away, but we all have to be distanced. And if they call you in, you're like you're a football field away, because if you space it out, that's just how it works. So that's probably the most frustrating part for me, is like you have to fight for your space, but then the sound guy's like, no, my cart has to be here. It has to be within so many feet of the camera. And then the DIT guy's like, no, but I've got to be here because I've got to be within so many feet. And then the Wi-Fi tower's like, well, it's got to be here. And then so if you find like prime real estate on set, someone else that's more important than you, that's like, no, I got to be here. And I'm like, we're putting stuff on their faces. We have to be here too. And so you're constantly fighting, which is kind of why I laughed pretty hard at the Tom Cruise rant, because I felt for the crew standing around, because if they're all hovering around a monitor like he rants on about, that's because there's not enough monitors, dude.
Yeah.
Around a monitor, there's a reason why. They're trying to do their job. They're trying to get on with it. And they probably had to have a moment that they had to cheat. Like cheat, meaning we have to get within 6 feet. We need to do this thing. We need to check this shot. We got a thing to do, and then we'll separate. Yeah. But no, Tantrum Tom went on a baby boy rant.
That's kind of what I took from it too.
Yeah.
Doing that, and that's what I was kind of thinking of asking. Like, has there been anything? Has there been Tommy Cruise's? Did Tom Cruise come onto the set and yell at somebody?
He flew in. He was like,
jumped on the plane, landed, and then just started screaming at people.
Yeah, we have COVID coordinators that like will call us out and we'll say, hey guys, will you separate? The hard part too is a lot of times you do have to talk to someone on set. Like you have to talk to somebody sometimes and you have to get in there and you have to go in and you talk. But the minute it starts to look kind of casual, the COVID coordinator is like, hey guys, can y'all separate? Well, then when you separate, now you have to talk louder. Well, what happens on set? Quiet on set.
Yeah.
Even when they're rolling, how many times have you guys heard the first AD that's like, work quietly, please?
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah.
People are working, but you're like, but I got to talk to you. So then you move in to talk to him and the COVID coordinator's like, can you guys? And you're like, oh my God, I just got to get this done. So texting
This sounds like a horror show.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. So we text constantly, like just to have regular conversations.
That's smart. Yeah, that's good.
Sorry.
It's been interesting to see how technology's kind of adapted to all this. And that's the other thing that I think is really going to stick is that, you know, in a weird way, we've kind of found ways that are almost more efficient. Some things.
Yeah.
You know, like
this. Like I don't need to see Brian's face in my face. Like I don't have to be up in his grill anymore.
Yeah, I don't have to put on pants. It's the best.
Yeah. We're in sweatpants right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like whatever. We never need to do that again. So yeah, there's definitely perks to it. Meaning like there's things that I won't want to go back to. Like I don't ever want to have to hover around a monitor again. Like I have an iPad that's, I don't know, 13-inch or whatever. And I want to hook it up to the tier deck and do the viewer app forever. That works for me.
Yeah. That's so great because like there's nothing more annoying than everyone gathered around the monitors.
Yeah.
That is,
and then there's a whole hierarchy of fighting for your place in that world too, which is
the
whole thing in my world where it's like, you know, certain producers can get in front of you and I need to be up close and this person thinks they have to be up close and it's a whole game as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm complaining, guys. I really like my job.
Hey there, film folks. If you're trying to get your project made, I got to tell you about my friends over at ngpfilm.com. If you are in the state of Oklahoma and you need equipment to get your project made, you need to go to NGP. They've got camera equipment, grip and electric equipment, sound equipment, production gear, stuff for your locations, pretty much everything. And if they don't have it, they're going to help you find it. Their customer service and support is out of this world. Literally, if you're in the middle of your day and you need extra gear, they will come to where you are and drop the stuff off. Or they have a super convenient night pickup and drop off. So you can call them, they'll leave it in these really cool little bins with a code that they give you, and then you show up and you put the code in, and then voila, you got the gear. And then when you're done with the gear, you come back, you leave it in the drop off, you put the lock back on, and then shazam, your day's over at 3 a.m. ngpfilm.com is pretty much the best thing Oklahoma Film has to offer. If you have any rentals, anything that you need, check them out, ngpfilm.com.
I was gonna say, okay, so now let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead, like working on Fear the Frickin' Walking Dead. This is a show that, like, the whole Walking Dead franchise is huge. It's been huge for like what 12 years at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what's that like working on a show like that?
Well, so part of my like starstruckness was when I day played in season 5. So those who don't know or don't watch the show, so right now we are in hiatus, or what do you call it? Mid-season. We're in season 6, mid-finale. Is that how they put it?
So by the time this comes out, it'll have picked back up
in the second half of season 6, which I only am working the second half of season 6. So as of right now, none of the episodes I worked on have aired. So we're about 4 episodes ahead of them.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So you know all the spoilers.
Yeah. So for our Patreon subscribers, just wait. It's all coming in a few minutes.
If you want to hear this, go to patreon.com.
I know, which is really hard. And I sympathize now with actors who will go on tonight shows because, okay, so for me, I watched all of season 5 to get ready for season 6. But because I didn't work on the first half of season 6, I didn't really know the story. Mm-hmm. And then as season 6 was airing, it was airing at like 10 o'clock at night. And I was in bed because our calls are at 3 a.m, 4 a.m. So I was in bed at 6 o'clock at night. So I haven't seen any of this season 6 part. So it's really hard. I watched a recap before I got on this podcast to make sure.
Right.
But it's really hard because like
Last time on Fear the Walking Dead.
just to name a character I work with, I had to make sure, was there a weird cliffhanger in the last episode that the viewers have seen that maybe we think he's dead, he's not dead, or she dead, or like, so there is some of those moments where it could easily slip out. So I could never go on like Jimmy Kimmel or a Tonight Show as an actor.
Yeah.
Because at this point I'm 3 months into a storyline and I don't really know where you guys are.
How do they handle that? Like, because like, you know, we've signed NDAs on every little project that we've been on, but this is the NDA on this has got to be a whole different level.
Yeah, NDAs, and then I had to watch all these videos. But if like you guys go on my Facebook or my Instagram right now, I'm non-existent. I mean,
I saw a tumbleweed blow through there.
Yeah. Like I have the last post of me is spinning around with actor bags and I'm on set. No, I'm not on set. I'm sorry. I'm at base camp. So all you see is like trailers and gravel. Like I can't post anything. It's like kind of weird.
Spoiler, the season's got trailers, y'all.
No,
got trailers.
Oh,
and there's actually somebody that works with the production that follows everyone's social media. And like they do it with the actors and they do it with everything. Like, so I know that people can post about the show, but you can only, there's so many things. And now with COVID, you can't post, like if I were to post a picture of me with my mask on, but I didn't have my eyewear on and I was in the trailer, the makeup trailer alone, I would get called out because I didn't have my eyewear.
By Tom Cruise.
By Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise would comment on your Facebook.
We have a version of Tom Cruise that works for the show. Yeah.
Everyone should have a little version of Tom Cruise that works on.
Yeah.
Just a little mini Tom.
The mini Tom.
Well, see, the funny thing is, like, we were talking about this yesterday, Tony, about how, like, I'm actually kind of team Tom.
I'm anti-Tom.
Here's the reason why.
You know the pain of the group that he.
Yeah, that's all. During that whole rant, all I was thinking of was just like, because you know I live in the PA side, so like just some poor PA just like trying to stack some waters, getting too close to someone, and then having a billionaire screaming at you. It's like,
I think maybe it's that I sympathize with him more than like agree 100, because I think like he made his point 5 seconds in, and then he just kept beating a dead horse. Yeah. But like I sympathize with him because he's also the producer of the movie, so like he has that responsibility,
right?
So like,
I get that, and I get that his stress. I thought it was a little dramatic. Not every production is looking to them. I understand it's a big movie, but there are plenty of shows happening. I can tell you from what I know, Fear the Walking Dead is not looking at Mission Impossible 15 make their show. The world is continuing without you. I can promise you there are people that are still going to college because your show has not shut down. Like let's just take down the God complex. Like
just
I can get that. I get that.
Calm down, but at the same time,
Tom.
Calm down, Tom. I mean, the pressure is there. I get it, but the pressure is there for all of us.
In his defense, he was hanging upside down on a building while he was screaming at them.
Yes.
So the blood was rushing to his head.
Changes everything. He's mid-stunt hanging from wires. People are looking at us.
Whoever you are.
If you see my say it again, you're fired.
Yeah.
But,
oh man.
I just thought it was just so dramatic. But I will say the good thing that came out of it was all of the memes. I don't know if you guys follow movie set memes on Facebook.
Oh God, yes.
Glorious. And we were on set reading these memes, and it was by far just the highlight of my whole day was all of it.
Oh man.
As we're 6 feet apart, like sending them to each other.
It's been so crazy though, because I mean, like there have been large budget movies that have had, you know, cases of COVID on it. And I feel like, I'll be honest, I feel like it's actually very undercovered, like the amount of outbreaks that do happen on set. And it kind of bothers me. It bothers me that it's being swept under the rug.
Oh, it's the opposite in our world where it's a little shamed. People are shamed.
Yeah. But I'm talking like in the public zeitgeist, you know, like the, you see front page news of some crazy outbreak happening at an elementary school or something like that. And like, meanwhile, we'll have outbreaks on major film sets, and I just feel like I'm not seeing anything.
Brian,
I feel like that's a different discussion.
Brian, you're still locked into your role of reporter number 2. You need to pull out of that.
I need
man.
the truth.
Your 2 method.
I'm still in it.
True Detective season 3.
It's season 3. That's right.
Keep an eye out for Brian.
I worked on a big show too. Man.
Tony, were you a Walking Dead fan before?
I was a huge Walking Dead fan of the original show.
Mhm.
And then the spinoff happened, and I watched the season 1 of Fear, but then it was like too much for both for me.
Mhm.
Too much zombie world, but I was super geeked out on the first one, and then I stopped watching Walking Dead after Glenn died.
Mhm.
I stopped watching after Rick died, or
Oh really?
or
When Glenn died,
whatever.
with Negan and the actor that plays Negan, I can't remember his name. He seems like a lovely gentleman, but the character was way too much for me.
I agree.
And that happened, yeah. But
Yeah,
then,
I'm with you.
I stopped watching after the first Walker died. Like, I'm on their side, guys. They're people too.
Walker lives matter.
Walker lives matter. Come on, guys. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
That was a person. It was.
I love that the walkers have taken on their own lives. You know how, like, I remember The Talking Dead when that was on, and they would like do the goodbyes, but like the creative input that these different kinds of walkers, like different things happen, is the fact that they make certain walkers memorable is pretty much my favorite part.
That's really
There's
cool.
some good ones on this show too, where they're the type of walker they are.
Mhm.
It's pretty great.
Can you share what type of walkers there are? Or how
I
many?
know that in season 6 that's already been aired, so I can talk about that. There's a whole taxidermy walker series.
Ooh, that's up Brian's alley.
Yeah. So spoiler if you haven't. But like,
Are there any squirrel walkers?
you should.
Yeah.
But like whatever like a bad guy is, or whatever situation they walk into, there's going to be a walkers that have like that's happened to them. So there's been a couple times of stuff that hasn't aired that you read the script and the scenario is like, oh, that's extra like gross walker. Like
Extra
like
gross walker.
Yeah, it's good
Ugh.
stuff. And then how they come up with it on set. I mean, the team is pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
What's that like watching the makeup artists working on the walkers and creating all that?
It's pretty cool. I mean, of course they come to set already done, but they've got it down to such a science, and a lot of it now because of COVID, a lot of them are like, so before there was 3 tiers of walkers. There was the ones that would go in the chair and they had like the pieces put on them. Then there was the second tier and they were like full masks and they were kind of in the back. Then they had a further tier that were just like airbrushed.
Oh, cool.
So now you can't have hordes of walkers because of COVID, right? So they now have the mask ones, and they can't have contacts anymore. They don't have a contact lens tech anymore.
Oh, okay.
So they have to do all that CGI, but they're masks that they wear, and they're kind of like glued on. I mean, they're really good masks, but they're essentially Halloween masks that they're like full, and they come like low, like all the way down into their clothes. And then they have like these little rubber eye part that just hangs over their eye, like a rubber mask type.
Wow.
But of course it's like impressively great, but then they have to wear a surgical mask.
Oh my God. Over the masks?
Yeah, because their mouth is open. I know. And they have like teeth that hang a little. Before they used to have bites they would put in, like full, like they were like denture bite things that would go up inside and then the mask came over. But now they just have teeth that kind of are built on, and then they paint the teeth, but then they have masks. So I have a few like sneak peeks of walkers with like surgical masks on.
That has got to be the biggest pain in the ass to be one of those actors.
And then now they have gloves instead of airbrushing. Like they used to airbrush their hands and paint their hands, and now they're these really impressive gloves.
Wow.
Like cloth satin gloves, but they're perfectly painted. I hope this isn't spoilers. That's not a spoiler.
That's
right?
not a spoiler.
No.
Leave it to me to decide if it's a spoiler.
I'm just waiting on-
until like
waiting on that
February.
scene of just like, watch out for all these walkers who've been trained to stay 6 feet apart for some reason.
Socially distancing walkers.
Socially distanced walkers.
This is
I
the
mean,
most
they
health
won't
conscious
be within 6
zombies I've ever seen.
It's not that scary. They won't get within 6 feet, but they're gross.
It's so good. I'll have to send Brian some photos of sneak, kind
Oh,
of
for sure. Yeah, we'll totally post
added
that.
into this
Put that
podcast.
up.
And you're working on the principals, the humans.
Right. So I just get to like show up on set or like run into the walkers in the bathroom or like at lunch or something.
Do you get a little?
What a horrible way to run into a walker.
Be working on the walkers.
What's that?
Do you want to be working on the walkers? Are you a little jealous?
I think it's cool, but I've done zombie makeup for stuff, but it's never really been like my wheelhouse. Like I'm not a monster maker.
Gotcha.
If anything, I'm a trauma, dirt, and beauty person. Like I am my expertise and whatnot is in the principal world.
Trauma, dirt, beauty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like if you want me to like make a werewolf, I mean, I get it, but it's not really not my thing.
It's not your thing.
Not my thing. Yeah.
We all
But
have a thing.
The walkers are really impressive. The stuff they do to them is pretty cool.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's excellent.
Yeah, because they really get in there. Like you can tell that they do a lot of airbrushing, and I mean they put in all the veins and all the. I mean, it's rad to see. It's rad to see what I've seen on TV for so long, and then see it up close and be like, oh god,
Yeah.
Cool.
that's
Nerding out a little bit.
Yeah, because like even when you see like the sides of their ribs and all that stuff, I mean those are like pieces, and oh my god, and the costume department is off the charts. Like the level of distressing and staining and aging, and it's pretty rad.
That's so cool.
Stuff, I know. And then they got a ton of just dummies laying around all the time, like just the bodies from the props department.
Hey, they're called PAs. I mean, you can't. You can't.
Yeah, there's tons of those. Yeah, and now we're watching them put them in segments and CGI them together. So we'll watch like a group of background or walkers, and they'll put like 6 or 10, and then they put some tape up, and then they stick them in the next thing, and they digital. Because we can't have more than. At the most, we've had 15 background. At the most, is what
wow!
They'll do.
And they're not able to get within 6 feet, or they are able to get within 6 feet.
Well, once you're rolling, then they take their masks off and they do the whole red zone thing, and then they are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But outside of that, but they've also changed, and you're going to notice this a lot in like we see this in commercials and other movies. Is they're restructuring the stories where like the right now it's kind of like an anthology series. So we're only covering a couple of characters at a time in blocks.
Yeah.
Which I kind of think they were already doing in season 6. And I think it just worked out for them, but we don't have all 15 characters or how many ever there are. They're kind of doing a blocks now, which is nice.
So interesting. That's interesting that you point that out. Cause I feel like I have been seeing that and it never even occurred to me that, I mean, like, that's what's been so interesting about this whole process of COVID and its effect on the industry is like the ways that we have been creatively adapting to this bizarre situation is like it's really cool. Like, and I feel like we're getting almost better stuff from it.
I think so. I mean, this is now because they're covering just little blocks of characters. You're diving into each character a little further and kind of doing little. I don't want to say backstories, but like we almost call them like so-and-so's episode is what we call it because the whole episode is kind of about them. And then it'll have maybe 4 other characters because they'll trail off or they'll kind of do things. And I noticed a lot of those shows are doing the same thing where it kind of focuses in on them. And it always kind of did that, but now it's just doing it a little more. And then with walkers, they're just digitally, they're having to put them in more. They're just having to be creative, which is cool.
Yeah. I'll tell you, if this COVID would have hit any decade prior to this, we'd have been screwed. But like, thank God, it's really interesting to see where CGI comes in to fill in the gaps and like help us, like with the eyes, like what you're talking about with the freaking eyes and CGI and eyes. We couldn't have done that 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I have yet to see it play out yet. I'm really curious to see how it goes. But I mean, it's sad because that was a whole position that is not anymore.
Yeah.
The contact lens tech that used to be that was a job, and she showed up on set and she put all the contacts in everybody.
Wow.
And yeah, like that was, she had last looks like everybody else, and that was a whole position that has been completely eliminated, at least for this show. I don't know.
Yeah.
What her job is now or who that's a whole company that does special, because like in indies, the makeup artists kind of get stuck with doing contacts on people, but that is super kind of illegal. Which I normally tell them, I'm like, just so you know, this never happened. I'm not helping you. You did yours. But normally I help with contacts, but that's like a whole position that are trained techs. I know.
He's probably just kind of wandering the streets, just poking people in the eye. Just
your eyes look funny. Boop.
Last one, so long.
Oh,
There we go.
It's going around booping people in the eyes.
I know.
Mhm.
Oh, what
So
a mess.
how exactly did
Mhm.
you end up? How did you land this job? Because I've known you for 10 years or so, and it's been so cool to watch you slowly progress. I feel like we got started right about the same time.
We did we both had the same first movie and we didn't know each other.
That's right. Oh, that was not a good movie.
Which one was that?
It was Frankie and the Pirate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And I was acting.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so you were Frankie? Or
I
the
was
pirate?
Frankie.
Okay.
Grown up Frankie.
Yeah,
You were
because it was like it was kind of a fantasy. I don't even know how to describe it. It was a
about
cute.
a little boy and his imaginary friend.
Yeah, and then he
And
grows
Brian
up.
played the grown up version
Yeah.
of the boy.
Okay.
So
I see.
I never met Brian on that because it was so low budget. It was like our first where I only came in when they needed like help with certain things. And
Mhm.
so because Brian was only in scenes as a grown up and then he only had scenes with like a female lead, they didn't really need makeup. So I just wasn't brought in on those days. It was like that kind of low where they're like, we don't need you every day. We just need
Yeah.
you on the days that you're the pirate and with the Indians, and it was a whole thing. So
Mhm.
then we met later and mentioned that, and I was like, whoa, we were on the same movie and we never actually met.
Yeah.
That's so
And now you have the same thing nowadays where it's like, wait, I have never seen your face before.
Yeah, I mean, I work with a lot of the same people. Like, I mean, I work with all these people on this huge set, and I don't know a lot of them. It's kind of a bummer. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not really able to get to know a lot of them.
That sucks.
You can get in 9 minutes and 55 seconds of a conversation. just that little
Counting
chunk
down.
of time. Where were
Yeah.
you born? What's your hopes? No, never mind.
No, I just have to be really expressive with my eyes behind glasses. Like, hi.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
have you gotten good at that?
And like this, like, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But I know Brian and I started. It was like 2009, maybe 2010.
I think so, something like that. It was a while ago. So long
Yeah.
ago that I forgot that I was acting in that movie.
And I was doing makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with this, I got called because I was in the union and they were just going down the roster, and they had used everybody they knew in Texas. So it was kind of a long shot thing. But this was also when they had backgrounds of like 75, 150. It was huge crowds.
Wow.
So that was it. So I just went and day played, and then, by day playing, you're helping just the background. And then I'm on set, you're just kind of working with the core team. And the goal is just to not annoy them. I mean, that's what they look for.
Yeah.
They kind of say that.
I mean,
They want to
crazy.
be around people that can do the job, that can be on time, do the job, not annoy them. And they know that they're like kind of staying on top of the background, because it's kind of a slow job. It's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
You're just making sure they keep looking dirty. That's it.
Come here.
Go roll in the mud. Roll in the mud.
Yeah, and with the fake dirt, and because I went there in the midsummer, and in Austin it's 104 there, and so they're basically sweating themselves clean. So then you're just adding more dirt, because then they sweat it off, and then you're adding sunscreen, and then it's coming off because there's sunscreen. So then you just kind of add more, but then there's kind of a continuity thing. So really, you're just busy work. You're just kind of working in circles.
Yeah. There's another reason why I would never want to be an actor on a show like that.
Just that level of grime.
Yeah. I choose to not work on a show like that. I do.
I asked my question on True Detective, and I said, "That's it.
That's it. I choose to never do it again."
Bucket list checked.
Yeah, and done.
But yeah, that's how I did. I was just doing background, and that's all I know. Maybe there's more to it, but I just kept day playing, and I was willing to drive down there even for 2 to 3 days worth of work. There was one time I only went down for 1 day of work. So that's me driving down 6 hours, spending the night. I stayed with the third, who's the third makeup artist. That's such a weird name, but anyway, a permanent member of the team. I knew her
because that nickname was going to come in. Like, yeah, you're the third.
The third. It's such a weird. I hate that title, but anyway, I was staying with her because they weren't wanting to cover hotel due to union. Anyway, blah blah blah. The point is I was willing to work. I was willing to drive 2 days to work 1 day, and I think that helped too. I basically just kept saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you keep saying yes, you're driving, and you're not annoying.
Right.
Perfect.
You know, isn't it amazing though how much of this industry, like you can really go far by not being annoying and just being a relatable, good person. Like I was just talking to a friend about this, about how like if you are hardworking, humble, and like just a good person, you can really go far. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
at least.
And then
me,
somewhere in there is talent and skill.
Yeah, I try to ignore that part, but yeah. I mean, yeah, that's it too, is to not screw it up. But I mean, that's what I tell people all the time. I'm not rewriting the book on artistry. I do the best I can do, and I do my homework, and I make sure I'm prepared, and I'm good at my job. But I'm not blowing people away or anything. I'm not doing anything magical. I'm just doing the job that they're asking me to do, and not getting arrogant about it, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know, guys. I'm just getting called and I'm showing up, and every day I'm like, this could be what I think. So,
but I mean, like, how often do you even work with people that are egotistical sourpusses?
Whenever she does this podcast.
What's the question? How often?
Yeah, I mean, like, how often do you have a crappy personality that you're working with? I'm trying to prove the point that if you're a decent person, you'll go far.
Yeah, that's what happens. Most of the time, we're working with decent people.
How long?
I want names, Tony.
I will say I feel like the longer I'm in it, maybe the more I fine tune the bullshit meter. I think in the beginning, everybody's great because I'm eager. And then the longer we're in it, the more we're like, oh, I see you. So I think that's what's happening right now is I get more, not jaded, but I'm more aware.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. But I also learned to also try to have more boundaries. So there's just people who I try to kind of keep at an arm's length because I want to keep liking them and I want to keep working with them, but I see enough of like a red flag where I'm like, I don't want to hate you, so I'm just gonna like keep it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you get Tom Cruise about the social distancing. 6 feet, 6 feet, 6 feet. Get back.
And then you're like, you ruined it now. I hate you.
Hey, look, I have a sensor. I have a little.
Leave me alone. Yeah, they need that sensor like we do. But
yeah.
I will say
I'm surprised that thing doesn't like vibrate or something, like give you a warning, like you know what I mean?
Like your order's ready.
Instead of just like narcs on you.
Yeah. And now it starts. It makes me think of like, I bet it's like the laser gate. You know, when you go play like laser tag with people.
Yeah.
Come out and see the score.
Yeah.
It's the COVID coordinator told me it's kind of like that. Like she could pull up my name and then everybody next to me, everybody I was in contact next to me, and it's almost like a graph and it shows like who had your highest contact with, and then it goes down.
Wow.
That's the new MySpace top 8. That's like, dude, you were in my top distance.
Dude,
you're in my top. I'm close. I got it within distance of you.
Damn, Tom.
I'm gonna try to talk her into like printing off my sheet eventually.
Oh yeah.
That would be
I feel
hey,
like
keep that as like a memorabilia kind of thing.
Yeah, like I might work hard.
Or almost like, you know, like you get through the whole thing and hope, and you know, nothing God forbid, nothing happens and everything, but it's just like, okay, let's see who couldn't resist being around people the most. Okay.
Who's the friendliest? Let's look at the chart.
Yeah.
You're fired.
How's Austin been?
Austin's been really cool. I mean, the weather is always about 10 degrees warmer than it is here. So it gets cold, but it's not like here. But it's also whatever we are in the hottest at about 10 degrees, and that's what it is there. I mean, it's
I'm good.
But I will say if for people listening to this that it works in Oklahoma and works in Indies, is the minute I got down there, I was told repeatedly, oh, this is the hardest show. This is known as the hardest show on the network. Not network, hardest show known out there because you're in extreme conditions. The hours are long. You're working in the middle of nowhere with bugs and whatnot. But I'm not doing anything there that I haven't done here. And the weather conditions, whatever there, we've done times 10 here.
Yeah.
So I think at this stage, and of course I've only been there a few months, but at this stage, we do some hard crap here. So if you can do it here.
I'm telling you, Oklahoma is such a great place to cut your teeth, man.
It is brutal, yeah. But Austin's beautiful. It's pretty. I'm right by Rainy Street, which is really nice, and so I'm like in the downtown area. It's nice.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of encampments everywhere around me, which is like a whole different world.
Encampments
like tents, like homeless tents.
Oh wow.
But they're like under the bridges, they're full encampments. So they're right, like almost walking distance from my hotel. There's a bridge. It's like a really long underpass bridge, and it's like a parking lot, and it's full encampments.
Wow.
Like, it's like a whole community. And
Jeez.
under
Taking
every
some notes from
bridge,
San Francisco over there.
yeah, there's like 5 to 6 tents under every bridge that you go in every underpass.
Man.
So it's that's kind of an adjustment. And they're not like, I mean, it's not like anything bad, but it's a constant thing you're constantly wearing, because they'll also walk up to you and start washing your windows for a tip. So you have to be that person that's like, no, stop. Or
that's a bummer.
Yeah. All right, I'll give you money to stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
You're
making it worse.
But besides that, great. It's cool. I'm right by Rain Street, but I can't really go anywhere. I'm really isolated.
Well, yeah, because you have to stay sequestered the whole time, right?
Pretty much. Like the restaurants there are open, so I'll like go to like patio stuff every once in a while. But for the most part, I'm alone. Like my husband comes every other week, and we'll get out a little, and then I'll go take walks around the lakes. I'm right by Lady Bird Lake, which is really nice.
Mhm.
Things are closed, and we're not supposed to like socialize with people outside of work. So I'm not supposed to be like around another department.
Wow.
I know.
That's frustrating.
It's kind of weird. And it's kind of like if people are hanging out outside work, even if you're in your own department, I mean, it's not really supposed to be talked about.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully that part will definitely go away soon.
But especially for our department. Maybe.
I want to double down on that. Let's have department wars. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Especially interdepartment mingling, I think is taboo. But maybe I'm just getting it because our department is so connected. Like I am in a position where if I tested positive, the show could shut down because then I'm in contact with an actor. So it might be different in props and set dressing and those kinds of things. I honestly don't know. We've had some positive cases, but they've been really contained.
Mhm.
And then everybody that was in contact with that person went home, but we haven't, shut down the show. So what they're doing is working.
Yeah. Wow.
I
guess those beepers are a good idea. God.
I can just imagine if one of the walkers tested positive, and then you're just like, we can't touch you. You just have to go out into the world. Look, that's how we know. That's how we're going to differentiate you.
God. This guy.
Oh God, yeah. I know. I mean, I miss it. I miss my Oklahoma film family for sure because I'm so contained. I'm so isolated.
We miss you, but you're still involved with Oklahoma.
I am.
And you're a part of the Oklahoma Motion Picture Alliance. So let's talk about that real quick because I think what's going on is really freaking cool.
Okay. Oh man, this is the thing I know the least amount about too. But
perfect.
I know. It's very new, guys. It's very new. So this is a new alliance, like a new committee that Richard James and a few people have started. And it's similar to any kind of organization, any kind of like industry. So like art industry, oil industry, you kind of have a committee that comes together that is an advocate and kind of speaks on different areas within that industry. And the idea is to be one voice that advocates to legislation and to people that come through. So we're kind of in conjunction with like the tourists with the Oklahoma Film and Music Office.
That's awesome.
Because like the Oklahoma Film Music Office with TAVA, their job is to bring outside stuff in, right? And then help with legislation. But they aren't really a voice for like the other aspects of like the actual individual pieces of the industry. So let me pull up the site. Like there's someone that's over, I'll just read them. There's someone over like a film financier. There's Bob Miller, which is over like Castle Row Studios, which is like the sound, the sound studios here.
Yeah.
There's someone that's kind of part of like the independent producing aspect of it. There's 2 people that represent actors. And then myself and Allison Nafee represent Below the Line, which is a crew, which is, a little nerve wracking because I wasn't like voted into that by the crew. So
who made you represent all of us?
I know, like, hi crew, I'm speaking for you. yeah, so that's kind of, so I take it seriously because I want to be an advocate and be a voice for that. But a lot of times these laws and like legislations and stuff that come through, they're to bring money into the economy, but in the fine print, it may or may not be the best, the best advantage to a crew member.
Right.
I'm not saying they're bad, but they're working on a big scale. And so part of Allison and I's job is to say, like, as a crew person, as a below the line, this could affect us this way.
Yeah.
So
it's almost like a lobbying group.
It is, yeah. Only we are members to then be able to eventually afford a lobbying group, like a lobbyist. So we aren't, but yeah, our job is to be part of the legislation and what's being passed and like really fight for that. So do you guys remember when they were trying to pass from 4 million to 8 million, the cap?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you remember that we would get emails from individuals like with pre-written like letters, and they made it really easy for us. And they were like, hey, here's a letter, send this to your legislator.
Yeah.
You kind of remember that? Okay.
Yeah, I do. And it was very nice.
Very nice. Because all we had to do was copy and paste. And then there was someone that came along and you hit a link and it said what your zip code was. And they said your representative was so-and-so. Okay. Well, that individual just did it on their own ambition.
Yeah.
So the idea of this alliance is that we are a team on a committee that's like, this is kind of what we do. And it's all volunteer, but it's like the blend between a union and the tourists, like the Oklahoma Film Music Office. We're kind of that middle place.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, like, and that's been very, very needed because like, I feel like oftentimes our legislators don't necessarily, they don't see our numbers. They don't see that the industry is growing and there's all of these lives that are directly affected by some of this legislation. So
right.
that's so awesome that you guys are doing that. And
it's cool. I mean, I'm excited.
How are we going to help?
I know. I don't know what I can do yet. I think right now, the only message I'd want to get across is that Alice and I are doing this position. So if there's people that have certain concerns with certain things that are trying to be passed, that we're there to represent their voice.
Yeah.
That's all I really know right now. I don't know if that means that we're trying to rally things, what we're doing, but like something I can tell you guys right now is the cap as of right now is used up. It's kind of in this weird frozen spot.
Right.
Well,
yeah, that's been
I don't know what it'll be in April. I don't know what it'll be in April, but as of right now, all of the rebate is kind of used for like the next 8 years. And so we're in
whoa.
Yeah, so we're like in this weird limbo, and there's like money that the state could put for something big, and they can find money in other places, and it's kind of this weird thing, but like there is films in the queue that can't get rebated right now because it's all tapped out as of right now.
Wow.
That was quick. Wow. Yeah.
That was quick. Well,
I know.
We're popular, man.
Get in line. Take a number.
It's up to us to talk about pulling funds in other places or to make the cap even bigger. But if you do that, then there's a whole other host of things, and it's a lot of legal jargon that I have to learn about. But
yeah, where can people learn more about this?
So the site right now, it's still a pretty new site, but the okmp.com, which is Oklahoma Motion Picture Alliance.com, will just give you an idea of like home, about us, members, legislative efforts. Like it's just giving you the first kind of draft of what we're trying to do. But generally, like go to the Oklahoma Music and Film Office site. I'm wondering if they have stuff about legislation. I mean, I think that's the part I'm really new to this as well, is I just kind of wait for stuff to come to me. But realizing that there are people that are working on a state level and having meetings with governors and lieutenant governors and are really working hard to actually make it happen. And that's what we're all going to have to get involved in.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people here that want us to be the next Atlanta. And then there's a lot of people that do not want to be the next Atlanta because it blew up really quick and really fast and we didn't have the infrastructure for it. So we have to decide as one voice what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Maybe better than Atlanta.
Be better than Atlanta. I mean, I think it'd be nice to have a better, more infrastructure than Atlanta. Atlanta exploded and then there wasn't really crew for it. But at the same time, they exploded and they're doing really well.
Yeah.
So.
They got Marvel, man. They got Marvel's home base. They got the freaking Pinewood Studios over there. Crazy. Landon.
I will say between Green Pasture Studios, who I just talked to today, and then now with Prairie Surf. Oh God, did I say that right?
Yes, Prairie Surf Media.
Yeah. I mean, they're really pushing to get TV shows and pilots and stuff like that's really, I think, what Oklahoma could use is small TV shows. I think Marvel, I don't think we can hang yet. But so TV shows that's like that steady work, I think that'll build crews up really nicely. Yeah. And then if Killers comes through up in Bartlesville, I think that'll be a good test to see if we can hang or not. Because that's a big one.
I hope it comes. I hope it happens. It will be also great.
And I hope they bring in locals. I mean, I know they have to, but
better.
Yeah, there's not going to be
better.
I know that'd be cool, right?
Toni, this has been so cool getting to catch up with you. I feel like we've been hanging out for like the past 2 days because we've just been chatting and just chilling.
Yeah, you guys are just hanging out, and then you just have like some people eavesdropping for like 2 hours of your conversation. But the rest of it, it's just.
Is that you, Nick? Is that what that was? Is that you dropping in?
Yeah. I've been eavesdropping this entire. I'm very bad at eavesdropping because I'm talking while I'm doing it. It's awful.
Eavesdropper ever.
Jeez. Yeah.
Well, where can people find you online? Where can we find more about Toni Marlo?
Get a big gulp of that wine first.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you saw that, did you? Well, so I mean, I still have Marlo House, which is the bridal and production website, and that's kind of a company that I don't have my face all over necessarily. That's like a team. Oh my gosh, we have like a team of 18 now, by the way, Brian.
Dude.
I know.
I
know.
Look at you just taking this world by storm.
No. So we have a lot of people. So that's always there. But for like to see what I'm doing, unfortunately, this podcast is more information than anything I've been able to give out the last.
That's true. Yeah, you're locked down in secrecy.
I am really, yeah. So where can people find me is normally on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm out there a little, but I don't know what I can talk about. I can't post anything. So
well,
hopefully you know what I need to do? I need to get like a social media person for myself, for my own like stuff to kind of help me like navigate that. Cause I know I can post stuff. I'm just not creative enough.
You just need to get a burner account. One that's just like that Toni Marlo is so cool.
Oh my God. Like Kevin Durant did.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah.
A little Kevin Durant.
Full of KD.
Like, hey,
if I did, would you run it? Would you do it, Nick?
Absolutely. I mean, I hope you're like, if as long as I get free reign of whatever I'm going to say,
buckle up.
Buckle up.
I'll just share an album with you from my phone. We'll just have all these images, and then it can be like sneak peeks, like paparazzi pics. I'm like, I didn't do it. I don't know. Yeah.
It wasn't me, I swear.
We'll put the picture up, but the whole caption will just say like butts, just something like that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so that's what I'm doing is this. So right now, until I'm done with the season, you can find me by shooting me a text and saying, hey, how's your life?
Mm-hmm.
What up?
What up, man?
Around Austin and yell out Toni. I mean, she may answer eventually, but she's pretty
just into the ether.
But she's in a pretty secure house, so don't try to get in. It's a bad idea.
Secure hotel, yeah. Which is weird. When this posts, I'll probably be home when this airs. Isn't that odd?
That's true. Yeah, it's that weird future past that we're always living in on this podcast.
So we won't be covering the alien invasion. We won't be covering the new strain of Bud Light virus, you know?
Bud Light. Yeah. Everyone's butts are falling off. It's crazy.
Hopefully we'll be like on a film together because I'll be back.
Yeah.
That would be the best.
I know. And if I'm not back, then we'll start a new podcast and I'm there again. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'll be. I'm talking to my future self.
I know.
What do you want to say to your future self?
Stay golden.
And that is the perfect note to end this episode on. If you liked what you heard and you'd like to be a part of it yourself, go to patreon.com/Okie Show Show and become a patron. You'll get lots of behind the scenes stuff and extras. I'm probably going to post our silly squirrel conversation from
you'll get before 5 hours of preamble before the interview starts.
Yeah.
And please do it with the Zoom as well, because half the time my face is like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's talking about skinning squirrels.
But the viewers need to see
My grossed out.
this creation.
Yes, my incredible squirrel bag for my muzzle loader rifle. Okay, so if you want to learn more about this, go to patreon.com/Okie
Can't
Show
believe you
Show.
didn't give that to your niece. Can't believe it.
She would have loved it.
Yeah.
All right. We've talked long enough, Toni.
Okay.
I'm tired of you.
Ugh.
So I'll give you a call tomorrow.
for another
Let's go
2
grab
hours.
brunch.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
The Okie Show Show is a mostly harmless media podcast recorded at Tower Studios in Oklahoma City. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. If you're a business or industry professional that would like to advertise on the podcast, email info@okieshowshow.com. Rates starting as low as $25.